Hi everyone, comic book reviewer here. This time reviewing on Garfield Gets Real. Now, as you know, Garfield Gets Real, or as it was known in some regions as Garfield 3D, was a 2007 animated adventure comedy film, which was the first animated Garfield film from 20th Century Fox. And keep in mind there would be two other animated Garfield films, which were Garfield Fest and also Garfield's Petfuls. I know in 2024 we would eventually get a new Garfield TV show, a Garfield film, which of course would have Chris Pratt for the voice of Garfield. So the premise of Garfield Gets Real is also meant to show Garfield, Odie, and their owner John in the world inhabited by comic cartoon characters. And I give it credit that they are trying to kind of explain Garfield and all of his friends and other comic book strip characters living in this other world. It starts off promising, but I think the problem is having it go into this more Dr. Seuss like style at the start really just captures that feel like the film wasn't taking itself too seriously. But I do give them credit in showing how Garfield is getting tired of doing the same stuff over and over again. And we do see how Garfield finds a way to get into the real world. And at first, Garfield thinks it's this amazing thing. He thinks it's kind of gonna be this great epic adventure. But as soon as Odie goes with him, this is where Garfield finally now sees the consequences of being entitled, wanting more, and not thinking how others are gonna kind of feel about the situation. I think it starts off trying to obviously show Garfield having to kind of see this, that the real world has its own sets of problems, and we do see how, unlike in the cartoon world, Garfield and Odie can end up getting themselves put in danger or end up getting hurt. I think what the film is trying to do is obviously having Frank Walker voice Garfield, is that he is trying to sound close to Enzo Magic, but it just feels like there's moments where it sounds like he's out of breath, or it just sounds like it's not what the character should be. I think they obviously should have gone with Bill Fagerbakke, who voiced Patrick Star from SpongeBob, as I think his voice actually does sound close to what I think Garfield should sound like. I think also the problem is when you kind of got, obviously, the film's villains, Hale and Hardy, they just there to kind of be a plot device and not really knowing what much to do with them. I think the problem is, obviously, it's trying to have an interesting film. It's trying to be good, but it feels like it's a combination of trying to rush a product, but not really knowing what it wants to be. I think the film could have also worked if it focused on Garfield finding this portal in a sort of secret in a secret laboratory, ends up going into the real world and ended up meeting his creator, Jim Davis. I think it could work because it would also show Garfield and Jim Davis getting to know each other and kind of showing how Jim Davis got motivated in creating Garfield. And I think it would also be interesting to help show Garfield just how much importance he has, not only in the real world, but also in the world of Garfield. It could show Garfield understanding that people do appreciate him, either in comics, TV shows, films, and so forth. I think to me, Garfield Gets Real has some ideas that feel like they were just poorly done, not really thought out, and could have been something a lot better if it was given a better script. So I think the film definitely deserves a thumbs in the middle. Not the best, not the greatest, but it has some redeemable moments that could have worked. So, comic book reviewer here, signing out.